What's up, everybody, and welcome to the PlayStation Forecast episode 15. We're 1/15th away from 100 episodes now. We're just week by week, we're getting there. You know, I'm your only host this week, Alex Derrickson. Again, another week, another rousing session of PlayStation news. I hope since last week, you guys are doing well. I have not gotten par for the course here. I've not gotten any time to really play anything. Dug a little bit more into a game I'll talk about here in a little bit, but been playing what I'm referring to as Homeowner Simulator, except it's not a simulation, it's just real life, and it's just chipping away at my flesh and my bones until I will just be nothing but a pile of dust, but I'll have some equity. So I guess I got that going for me, which is nice. No, I've just been busy this whole week. I had some family gatherings, had a birthday to celebrate for a relative of my wife, and then spent some time in our new residence staining the floors. And I will just say this: if anybody ever comes to you and says, "Hey, do you want to help me stain my floors? It won't be that bad," that person's a liar. And it's a trap. Don't do it. They are not your friend. So that was pretty much just spent my last few days doing that. Hope you guys have gotten some time to play some games that you've been looking forward to. Maybe getting into some games you missed from last year. We're in a lull, We're in a nice cozy off period. There's stuff coming out, but no real heavy hitters. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's remaster season in a way. It's more kind of just that like that post E3 hangover, but we're not getting dumped on with like we did in 2013, having just Last of Us thrown in there, in the middle of or in the beginning of June, or like Arkham Knight or something like that. It's a kind of a quiet period. It's one of the last ones I think we'll really have when the floodgates open. September with Spider-Man? I think it's safe to say. So if you got some stuff you're sitting on, whether it's games or just tasks, now's a good time to do them. I would recommend doing that. I mean, it was kind of a light week this week in terms of news and everything. So let's just get right into it. This is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on podcast services around the globe, now including Spotify, and officially, thanks to you and your support, can now be found Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/pressx to Alex. It's a real link. It works. You can try it. I promise. It's clickable. It's goable. It exists. We have broken the threshold. We are no longer hovering in a space of double-digit subscribers. You and me together have taken this show, this little channel, and we have brought it over the triple-digit hump, which was a goal that I had set for myself to do in December. And we managed, and I mean it when I say we managed to get it there in the last week of June. So that's awesome. Thank you guys again, so much for the support for this show and everything. The iTunes reviews, the YouTube comments, the subscriptions, the support through all the podcast services, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, everyone that listens on CastBox, thank you. That's cool. I didn't know that was a thing until I started doing this. If you get it directly from Podbean, thank you. iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Overcast, Blueberry, however you get this, it is greatly appreciated and beyond anything I ever expected when I started this. So this exists as much as with me as it does with you, and I have you to thank for the continuing growth of this show. And the topic of growth, if you want to get involved in the show, you can write in to psforums.pressxalex.com with your questions, comments, concerns, news, or just conversational icebreakers, whatever. No, right into it. This is a little Google form. It doesn't bite. It doesn't hurt you. You just go psforums.pressxalex.com. Check that out. Leave some comments. We can have some discussion topics for next week. Housekeeping before we get into everything. There is a new Monday Morning Let's Play series up. Or not really series, episode of Monday Morning Let's Play. It is up on this very same YouTube channel that is now youtube.com/pressx to Alex. Again, thanks to you. And it is Reverie from Rainbite Studios. Now, I've talked a mad game about Reverie since this show started. Rainbite, the very great people at Rainbite, old Tom Butler and everyone else over there, have been very kind to me starting the show out. Them and Behind the Stone. And there's actually a Behind the Stone tribute in Reverie and vice versa. But those were the two first real studios that, like, when I started this show and we got a couple episodes in, I reached out to them. I was like, hey, like, you've got this new game. I've got this new show. I'd really like to talk about your new game. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. You know, and they were incredibly supportive. So again, interest of full disclosure, the code was given to me by Rainbite. But I've beat the Reverie drum a lot. The last probably 12 weeks of the show, I'd say. I think I started talking about it probably around episode 2 or 3. It's a great game. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say like, yeah, it's perfect. And one, it's not. I mean, that as we've said, even talking about God of War, or even some of my favorite games, a perfect game doesn't exist. But if you want a nice 16-bit like Super Nintendo looking Earthbound Zelda clone, it really just nails it. Like, it's such a love letter to the top-down action adventure like dungeon crawler genre, but with that same level of humor and that same, you know, it hits all the tropes, but they're not like eye rolly. And it's just something that's such a fun game to play. Even when I was on vacation, I pulled out my Vita and played a little more of it. It's one of those ones that like I've yet to complete, and part of it's because I just don't want to be finished with it. It's really weird when you find games like that. Part of it's also because I'm stuck in a spot. If you get stuck in a spot, you can reach out to the Rainbite Twitter and they will help you, as they have with me in the past. So check that out, because like I said, I've been talking a lot about Reverie, but haven't shown a lot. You know, I showed like a trailer in an episode, but if you watch the video version. But in terms of actually playing it and seeing how it functions and the mechanics and things like that, I take you through the first 20 or so minutes of the game. So it'll give you a good idea as kind of what to expect. Other than that, that's what we've got. Like I said, the show is now on Spotify. So if you're a Spotify user, I'm there. You just got to search PlayStation Forecast. I'm one of 5 just PlayStation centric podcasts on Spotify. And I think one of 3 that are just specifically that aren't tied to like VR. Because I know I think there's 1 or 2 VR podcasts on there currently. There's the PlayStation Blogcast. There's Square XO, which you guys should check out. And then there's me. So there's not a whole lot on there. So, I mean, every single episode of the PlayStation Forecast, if you're a Spotify subscriber, is available. That also means if you have a Spotify subscription and a PlayStation 4, you can listen to me while you play your PlayStation. And that's really cool. If you want, you can tweet at me at PressX to Alex. If a video of you doing that, I'll retweet it and I'll talk to you and I'll follow you. That's awesome. Like that, I would love to see that. If you have a Spotify subscription and a PlayStation 4, tweet at PressX to Alex a video of you playing PlayStation and listening to the show. That would make me the happiest person on the planet. More so than I guess I already kind of am, because I consider myself a pretty happy guy. But without further ado, let's get into the news. All right. First item on the news this week is your July PlayStation Plus game lineup. And this comes by the way of the PlayStation blog. Your PlayStation Plus games for the month of July, and they will be live by the time you hear this. It is Heavy Rain on PS4, Absolver on PS4, Rayman 3 HD for PS3, Deception 4 The Nightmare Princess for PS3, Space Overlords for PS Vita, and Zero Escape Zero Time Dilemma for PS Vita. His the entry on the blog continues. As if that wasn't enough gaming goodness, we also have an extra special PlayStation Now promotion running for a limited time, exclusively for Plus members. Between now and September 25th, PlayStation Plus members who join PS Now or extend their current paid subscription will get 3 months of PlayStation Now access for just $29.99. Normal price for 3 months is $44.99. This PlayStation Plus exclusive discount will let you play PS Now's collection of 650 plus PS4, PS3, and PS2 games for one low price. So, it's getting to be your last chance. I think it's probably already is past your last chance when you're hearing this, on Tuesday, July 3rd. By noon Eastern Standard Time, I'm pretty sure that's when all the Plus games will be available. They trickle in, but those will be available if you're listening to this really anytime past like 12 p.m. Eastern on the 3rd. Your PlayStation Plus games are available. I hope you got all the ones for June. You do still have until July 11th for Black Ops 3. So if you haven't picked that one up since that was kind of stealthily brought in at E3, you got that one. You can still get till July 11th, but get those other games. Because Heavy Rain, that's cool. I saved money by not buying that. That was a good call on my part, I guess. But we saw Beyond a couple, like 2 months before that. So if you're a Quantic Dream fan, or if you're still a little iffy on getting Detroit, you just got 2 games from the same team for free, really. So if you've played those and you really like them, you could jump into Detroit, I think, pretty confidently. I have not played Absolver. I have not played Rayman 3 either. I loved Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins, so I'm sure I'll check that out. The one I wanted to focus here is Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma, because I'll be good and goddamned if we did not finally get a good PS Vita game on PS Plus, since they said they were going to sunset the PS3 and PS Vita's involvement in the Plus discounts come next March. It's good to see they threw a good one in there. If you have the Nonary games, this is the one you're missing. If you haven't played the Nonary games, they're visual novels, as the Vita is so prone to have in their library. But if you're like a Danganronpa fan or a Steins Gate fan, you should check out the Zero. I don't want to sit there and say check out Zero Time Dilemma because it's the 3rd in a series. But it's the same. If you had a DS at one point, you played 999, like 9 hours, 9 doors, 9 days, 9 hours, 9 doors, 999. That's the best way to remember it. It's in that series, and then there was Zero's or Virtue's Last Reward, and then Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma. So I'm excited. I actually had missed the Nonary games, but as a Danganronpa fan, they were on sale. And I was like, well, they're visual novels, so I will definitely play these at some point. So I picked them up. So I'm excited to have all 3 now, now that they threw that 3rd one in there. So that's not a bad lineup, Kind of finally like a well. We finally got a good Vita game. It's exciting. And I'm excited to play Heavy Rain again, because I'm not going to move my PS3 out from where it's at and hook it up in here or some other part of the house and pop in the disc, and I just pass. Next bit of news. H1Z1 has surpassed 10 million players. This comes by way of Matt Kim, courtesy of US Gamer. Daybreak Games announced that H1Z1 on PlayStation 4, the free-to-play battle royale shooter, has surpassed 10 million players since launching on open beta in May of 2018. Quote, as a thank you to all the players who've downloaded and played H1Z1, Daybreak Games is giving them a Darkfire pickup truck and Sunrise parachute in-game skin as a free bonus. The reward will be given to any player who logged into H1Z1 before 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time, Wednesday, June 27, 2018. A new update to H1Z1 was also released today that adds a new revive mechanic to the game, as well as aim acceleration adjustments. A new weapon, the airstrike signal, was also added that lets players call in bomb drops on enemies. H1Z1, or as Daybreak likes to say, quote, the original standalone battle royale shooter, throwing some shade there, aren't you, Daybreak, was released on PlayStation 4 as a free-to-play open beta game last May. The game was reimagined from the ground up for consoles, and that means that certain PC elements are completely absent in the console version of H1Z1. Damn. I mean, free-to-play, I know Battle Royale is kind of it's the Hansel of video games, and it's so hot right now. But 10 million players. That is impressive. You gotta 1 second. There's been reports too that PUBG has lost half of its player base since the start of the year. I think it was. I don't remember that article off the top of my head, but you're seeing like everyone kind of full time move to Fortnite. There's still your dedicated PUBGers, but it's not amongst the battle royale calamity that we're dealing with right now. It's funny because like they were the ones that brought this on. They were the ones that like, hey, like we've made this game, and everybody's like, who? Why hasn't anyone made this game before? I like this game. I want this game. And then Epic kind of moved in on their territory and built a really great like dialogue with their community, and has fostered a lot of growth for that game. So seeing H1Z1 kind of move in, not into the Fortnite space on PS4, obviously, but into the PUBG space in a way where Xbox has PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds as their Battle Royale exclusive, and then the PlayStation people have H1Z1, and seeing 10 million players a lot. The trick with this is it's 10 million players that have logged in and played. It's not concurrent. And that's the thing is Daybreak's not releasing their concurrent users, which is kind of like the confidence benchmark that you would look for, where like PUBG has come out and touted their concurrent player base. Fortnite touts their concurrent player base. We're not seeing that with H1Z1. We're seeing that 10 million players, which is 1/8 of the PS4 install base, which is just fucking madness, have downloaded this because it's free to play, logged in, and at least played it. We're not seeing how many have stuck around. So that's still the number that I want to see, that I want to hear, because 10 million is great. I'm sure that exceeds the expectations as they sit there and tout being, quote, the original standalone battle royale shooter. It's no question who they're talking to there, but not releasing the concurrent user base, and maybe just not enough times passed for them to be able to confidently release those numbers. But not releasing them, I wouldn't say is cagey, but saying just 10 million people is kind of deceptive. It's great, but at the same time though, how many of those 10 million are sticking around? And that's still the number I want to see. But congratulations to Daybreak, because that 10 million downloads is still nothing to scoff at, free to play or not. But give us your concurrent numbers. I want to know. I have to know. Just tell me. I'll keep it a secret. You can trust me. I have eyes and ears. Eyes and ears. Yeah, eyes and ears. If you watch the video version, I mixed those up. I will keep them shut. And we'll just keep it secret. We'll keep it between you and I. That's where I was going with this. Next bit of news is Amy Hennig has officially parted with EA. This comes from Tom Phillips, a Eurogamer. This is a lengthy one, but we'll get right into this. Last October, EA shut down Visceral Games, which has been working on a secretive under wraps Star Wars project led by Uncharted creator Amy Hennig. The game, codenamed Ragtag, was said to be too linear by EA bosses, and development was instead pivoted to EA Vancouver. Since then, while reports have emerged of its troubled development, we've heard nothing about the aftermath, what had happened to Hennig, or what the future might still hold for the game under its new guise. Today, at the Game Lab conference in Barcelona, Hennig revealed to Eurogamer's Rob Purchase that she had actually parted ways with EA as of January this year and was in the process of starting up her new independent studio, but had not yet had the chance to announce the change or set the record straight. As for the exciting sounding Uncharted-inspired Star Wars game she had been creative director of, it's not good news. Read on for her full response. When asked if she was still creative director of the Star Wars... I don't know why I read the read on for her. When asked if she was still the creative director of a Star Wars project, Hennig replied, quote, "I'm not. I have not worked at EA since January, technically, legally. Yes, this is the problem. It was hard enough for them, but people were immediately asking them, is Amy working with you? And the answer was, well... we're in negotiations. It was sort of a soft pedal answer. I haven't been in, but look, I get along with all those people. I consider even the guys on the exec team friends. But it made it awkward because it was like, I never got the chance to announce that I'm not at EA, so I need to just pull off that band-aid at some point. but also had nothing to announce. It makes it sound like I just went home, but I'm doing all this stuff, working on all kinds of things. I'm working independently and staying independent. I've started my own small little independent studio and am consulting with some people. I'm hoping to bring some people on board. I would love to have a little company of about 6 to 8 people, 15 at the most, and do some more projects, do some VR stuff. I'm consulting with some VR companies and doing a ton of research because I haven't played a lot to immerse myself in it. So yeah, I'm not doing anything Star Wars. And who knows what the future may hold, but the project is on the shelf now. The Vancouver studio is working on something pretty different. It's really not, once you go more open world, it's such a different game to the one we're making. So that's not surprising, because once they shuttered Visceral, it was kind of just like, yeah, like I'm sure Amy Hennig's not there anymore. But to have the official announcement kind of come out and say, like, I haven't been there since January. I'm not doing this. I haven't had a chance to say this, but I am working independently. I've started my own studio. Looking to do some VR stuff. That's exciting because Amy Hennig is such a good, scratch that, is such a great mind in this industry. I mean, and we know the tumultuous nature of the Uncharted 4 development, ragtag and everything like that, that it was, especially with Uncharted 4, that drove her from Naughty Dog. And I haven't gotten to it yet, but I did pick up Blood, Sweat, and Pixels from Jason Schreier, and I'm really excited to kind of read about Uncharted 4 and get into the weeds with that story, because it seems like it's a radically different game from what they started with. But kind of seeing the fallout with EA and shutting down Visceral, and the fallout with Amy and her Star Wars game, because that was attaching Amy Hennig and being like, Uncharted creator, Star Wars, linear Star Wars game. Like that to me just screamed like fuck and yes. Like, give that. I want that. Like, take your time. If it's 2020, 2021, take your time with it, but give it to me. And to hear that was shut down, then on top of that, Visceral was shut down. It seemed like such a drastic and daft move on EA's part, and it just leaned into the whole EA is the worst video game company in the world. And despite the fact that they do things like A Way Out and Unravel and what have you, and the fact that companies like Nestle have child slaves, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about video games because it's a video game podcast, not a Nestle podcast. But it's good to see that she's still in it. It's nice to have the official statement to sit there and say, like, yeah, I'm not at EA anymore, and this is what I'm doing now. But it's still, I think we're ways away from seeing anything from her. I'm not too not jumping to sit there and be like, oh, Amy Hennig's got a new game. We're not there. We're not there. She just started an independent studio. She's talking to VR people, so something to be on the lookout for. It's cool. It's exciting, but it is what it is, and it's sad to see. It's nice to have some follow up, some closure, because, like she said, people asked, are you still doing Star Wars? Are you still at EA? And no. But she did say in another interview she would be open if they came to her and were like, hey, do you want to do, they being Sony, do you want to do a new Uncharted game? That she said she'd be open and receptive to the idea of it. So there's still chance for that, but I wouldn't hang your hat on it. So best of luck to Amy and her next projects and her new studio, because like I said, I think the gaming industry is better with her mind in it. So it's exciting, even if it is just a ripping the Band-Aid off, as she put. Next bit of news kind of just floated across here before I started. So pull this up. There is changes coming if you subscribe to PlayStation View. So this is from Dwayne Benefield on the PlayStation blog. He is vice president and head of PlayStation View. We wanted to provide advance notice to our PlayStation View customers about an upcoming price change to PS View's multi-channel plans starting July 24th, 2018. The price for all PS View multi-channel plans, which are Access, Core, Elite, and Ultra, will increase by $5. Current subscribers will see the change reflected on their billing cycle after July 31st, 2018. PS View's add-ons and standalone channels will not be affected by this price change. At PlayStation, we are always evaluating the PS Vue service to ensure we are providing a compelling value to our customers. Unfortunately, we must increase the price of our multi-channel plans to keep pace with rising business costs and enable us to continue offering a better way to watch the best in live sports, entertainment, and news. PS Vue customers will continue to enjoy the rich features that come with their monthly plan, including an industry-leading five simultaneous streams, powerful cloud-based DVR, unique features such as multi-view on PS4, all at no extra cost. Customers will also continue to experience most of the robust lineup of PR. We vow to continue providing exceptional service to our customers with plans to add more broadcast stations and content that resonate with fans, as well as ongoing feature enhancements. PS Vue was recently listed as a PR. So if you have the Access, Core, Elite, or Ultra multi-channel PS Vue subscriptions, your plan's going up $5 at the end of the month. That's just life. Netflix goes up like every year. Amazon Prime goes up what feels like every fucking month. Like every time it goes up, like your Amazon Prime's now $130 a year because we added a new season of Man in the High Castle. But you can't ship me my shit on time. Come on, Amazon. You're screwing up with the stuff you were good at. You did bring back the tick, so I owe you that one. But stop raising the cost of Prime. Get your shit together. For PlayStation Vue subscribers, I hope the $5 isn't a deal breaker. Hope it's not, an extra weight on your wallet. But just something to be aware of. Next news story comes from Wesley Yin Poole of Eurogamer, and it is Sony's response to the Fortnite controversies. That was topic of the show last week. Was our breakdown of Sony's just tone deaf response to the crossplay things and the locking out of the Epic account. I'm gonna take a drink of water before I read this because it's got some meat on its bones, and I want to make sure I don't just spend the next 3 minutes clearing my throat into the mic like I'm so prone to do. So please hold. I dribbled most of that on myself. So let's get into this. Sony has commented on the thorny issue of PlayStation crossplay. I made a mess. Look at this. If you're watching the video version, if you're listening to the audio version, I'm sorry, this is poor audio time, but this is poor air. But this video version, I just dribbled it all over myself, down my chest. All right. Sony has commented on the thorny issue of PlayStation crossplay, suggesting it's working on a solution. At the Game Lab conference in Spain today, Sean Layden, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment America and chairman of SIE Worldwide Studios, and PlayStation system architect Mark Cerny delivered a presentation about the legacy of PlayStation. At the end of the talk, Eurogamer reporter Robert Purchase, who just kicked some ass at Game Lab conference, put the crossplay issue to Layden. Here's what he said, quote, I thought it was fascinating you talking about PlayStation. This is Robert. I thought it was fascinating you talking about PlayStation 3 flying too close to the sun. Your Icarus moment, you called it. And then PlayStation 4 coming back to be more back to basics, to be more about the players. But there seems to be an issue at the moment that Sony isn't listening to its players, or does it seem to be, and that's crossplay, Fortnite particularly. Or doesn't seem to be, and that's crossplay, Fortnite particularly. And I wondered if there are any plans to open it up. It seems to be Sony's not listening. Layden replied by saying he could offer, quote, one short statement. Here it is. Quote, we're hearing it. We're looking at a lot of possibilities. You can imagine that the circumstances around that affect a lot more than just one game. I'm confident we'll get to a solution which will be understood and accepted by our gaming community, while at the same time supporting our business, end quote. In the context of Fortnite, this would mean Sony doesn't like the idea of a player on Xbox buying a character skin via Xbox Live and in the process handing Microsoft a 30% cut of the revenue, then logging into the PS4 version and being able to use that same skin on their persistent cross-platform character when playing the game on Sony's console. Sony has come under fire for its cross-platform console policy ever since, so this glimmer of hope from Layden offers some hope things may change in the future. It certainly sounds like Sony has been thinking about how to make console crossplay work. Perhaps an olive branch has been offered behind the scenes. So, while it's not what I think anyone wants to hear outright, it's a cool statement in a way to sit there and be like, look, it's a much deeper solution than just like, we don't want you to do it. Like, to see that it's more of a financial dispute, that they don't want, you know, someone to go on Xbox Live, buy a skin, give Microsoft their money, and then take that thing they bought and take it into the PS4 game, and then Sony misses that cut of the sale for that skin, or like their battle pass or anything like that. The fuck? My mic just went crazy. And so I think that level of honesty goes a long way. That level of openness, that kind of like candid response. I think that's at least what needed to happen. And that's the weird thing is Sony this generation, when it comes to crossplay, we saw it with Rocket League, has this habit of coming out with an issue, and then they come out with a terrible response, and they either follow it up with a good response or a worse response. With like Rocket League, we saw that it was like, oh, well, we're considering it, and then everyone's like, that's not a good enough answer, and they're like, well, we don't want kids to hear the swears. And have you played online? So seeing this one be more of a, hey, we don't want people to buy skins and stuff like that for Microsoft, give Microsoft a cut of the money, and then bring it into our system architecture. And it probably does run deeper. And I talked last week about how maybe one day they'll come out and be like, yes, it's crossplay. Yes, we figured out backwards compatibility. Yes, you can change your names. And yes, you no longer have to search letter by letter on the PlayStation Store. That is still unfathomably annoying. Anyways, so hopefully it's an issue that's resolved, or hopefully they'll be able to kind of come out with a cleaner response that's like, hey, look, we understand you want this. Here's A, B, and C of why that can't happen. And it may not, stop the whine. I don't want to say whining. Stop the complaining or the griping, But it could be a situation where it could assuage it a little bit. It could kind of ease the blow, soften the fire, so to speak, and kind of like, it's something we can look into next console generation. But for now, I don't think this response is bad. I think it's just it's clean, it's short, it's to the point, it's candid, and it is, Mr. Layton opening up and being like, hey, look, this is just where we're at right now. This is what it is. We are looking into it. We do hear you. We're not just standing around Worldwide Studios going, people are mad about something. It's something that I'm sure that they are looking into fixing, and as much as we hear it's as easy as flipping a switch, it could be something like I said. We can't even change our names right now on the PlayStation Network, and we've had those usernames since 2006. Some of us. So if in 12 years we haven't figured that out, crossplay is probably not just as easy as being like burp and it's go. So I appreciate the response. I appreciate the openness to it. So we'll see where this goes. Man, last bit of news I think for the day comes from Kotaku, from one Jason Schreier, and it is Google might be throwing their hat into the ring. So this is there's a lot in this article. I would maybe look it up because there's a lot of stuff in here. I pulled the biggest stuff in here for us to talk about, but we'll just get right into it. I am off with this mic today. God, I just almost knocked it into me. Over the past few months, the wildest rumors in the video game industry circles haven't involved the PlayStation 5 or Xbox 2. The most interesting chatter has centered on a tech company that's been quietly making moves to tackle video games in a big way. Google, the conglomerate that operates our email, our internet browsers, and much more. We haven't heard many specifics about Google's video game plans, but what we have heard is that it's a three-pronged approach. 1, some sort of streaming platform. 2, some sort of hardware. And 3, an attempt to bring game developers under the Google umbrella, whether through aggressive recruiting or even major acquisitions. That's the word from 5 people who have either been briefed on Google's plans or heard about them secondhand. Google has been exploring video game initiatives for most of the decade. In 2014, the company was reportedly poised to acquire Twitch before Amazon swooped in. Rumors percolated for years that Google was also attempting to launch an Android-based console similar to Amazon's Fire TV, but that didn't happen. In 2016, the Google incubated studio Niantic scored one of the biggest gaming successes of the last decade with Pokemon Go, but it had spun out into an independent company the year before. And Google has a long history of hiring game developers for projects that never quite materialize. In recent months, however, the chatter about Google has gotten louder. At the Game Developers Conference in March of this year, Google representatives met with several big video game companies to gauge interest in its streaming platform, which is codenamed Yeti, sources said. The existence of Google's Yeti was first reported by the website The Information earlier this year. Google also took meetings at E3 in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, those sources said, and from what we've heard, the company is looking not to just woo game developers to the Yeti service, but to buy development studios entirely. Google did not respond for requests for comment. So what is this streaming platform exactly? Like NVIDIA's GeForce Now, the Google service would offload the work of rendering graphics to beefy computers elsewhere, allowing them the cheapest PCs to play high-end games. The biggest advantage of streaming as opposed to physical discs or downloads is that it removes hardware barriers for games. Yeah, removes hardware barriers for games. Games like Call of Duty can reach a significantly bigger audience if players don't need an expensive graphics card or console to play them. As one person familiar with Yeti described it, imagine playing The Witcher 3 within a tab on Google Chrome. One thing is for certain, Google wants to make a splash. In January 2018, the company hired Phil Harrison, the veteran video game executive who spent long stints at Sony and Microsoft as a top manager on the PlayStation and Xbox. Google has also been on a massive hiring spree, bringing in experienced video game developers and marketers from EA, PlayStation, and many other top companies. The money is certainly there. Only time will tell if Yeti materializes in some form or simply goes the way of Google Glass. So, it's a lot to unpack in that. So this is just me talking, which it is, unless you write into psforums.pressx to Alex with your questions, comments, concerns, or opinions. I don't think we're there yet. The idea of a fully streaming service sounds cool, but and we've even heard like Yves Gaumont from Ubisoft say things like there's going to be one more console generation and then it's just going to be streaming. And we see different opinion articles, you know, through IGN or GameSpot and other, you know, like YouTubers and things like that, talking about Twitch's impact on games and how, you know, we see what games of a service have become, and we're seeing that a question that gets brought up in development for games is this streamable? Will people watch it on streams? And so there's that like new level of how do we make this compelling for this audience too. So to have an approach that tackles streaming, I think is fine, but to build it around streaming the same way that like was it the Ouya? And then there was a subscription service you could do. I want to say it was called GameLink, but I know that's not right. That you'd pay, you know, so many dollars a month, or you could just rent the game outright and it would stream the game. And I remember doing a trial of it, and within my web browser, I played Batman Arkham City for like 20 minutes and it just lagged. And this was on like good internet. This was on pretty decent Wi-Fi internet at the time. And that's the other thing too, is if you're operating on one of your prongs or one of your prongs or pillars, depending on if you want to look at it as like a fork or a buttress, it's one of those where, do you need to wait for the internet to be better everywhere? Do you need to wait for everyone to have a fiber connection? And if so, how long is that going to be? And does that line up with like what Yves from Ubisoft suggested, where it's one more console cycle, so maybe another 6 or 7 years, and then it's 2028 and Google's rolling out this three-pronged approach. Then it's also getting the right development teams under, you know, I think for something like this, it would have to be almost by acquisition to get a team to start making games of this nature for this kind of platform. It's it's cool. It's exciting. It's kind of like, in The Aviator where Leonardo DiCaprio is just walking around going way of the future, way of the future. And it might be an inevitable thing, The digital only approach is coming, but it's still so far away. And we see it attempted and failed over and over again. I think part of it's just because the processing power that you need to stream a game of say The Witcher's magnitude is, I think, well beyond what is within most consumers' reach of the internet, if that makes sense. I don't think everybody's sitting there clamoring for fiber optic internet or 500 megabyte download with 200 upload, or anything like that. There are people that are just plenty happy with. We have a service in our area that provides a maximum of 5 megabytes per second to people as a maximum, and there are people that are just okay with that. That's fine. So I think until it's permeated everybody, because it's okay. Let's pick something out here. It removes hardware barriers for games. Games like Call of Duty can reach a significantly bigger audience if players don't need an expensive graphics card or console to play them. And I get that, and that's why I lean towards consoles more than I do PC gaming. And by that, I mean, I don't lean towards PC gaming in any respect whatsoever. And it's because out of the box, the console plays the games. Like, I don't have to worry about, oh, do I have enough RAM? Is my graphics card powerful enough? How are my processors? It's just out of the box. What comes out, it comes out. And sure, I sacrifice some stuff here in frame rate. I sacrifice some visuals, and I get that, and I'm okay with that, just for the confidence in that convenience. And so to offload that and say, like, okay, yeah, you don't have to buy a console. You don't have to have super expensive hardware. We're going to have this system that renders it from beefier servers and streams it to you. So many things have to go right for that. The servers have to be powerful enough. They can't just crash. Your personal internet has to be good enough. What's the cost of that going to be? Once you factor in what your monthly internet cost is to, say, get something like codename Yeti to work, what's your internet every month? What is, obviously this sounds like it's a subscription service. So what's the monthly subscription for that on top of your internet? It's, like I said, I think we're getting to that point, but we are not there yet. And I don't think we're there enough for this to have the legs that it sounds like it might have, taking the meetings at E3. And unless in the meetings, like, hey, this is a 2027 thing, 2025 thing, whatever. If there's a company that can do it, that has the money for it, obviously it's Google. Like, they have more money than Jesus. But it's also a thing with, is this too ambitious? Is this going to be Google's Amazon drone? Where they roll out this fancy ad campaign and all this marketing and teasing all this stuff, and then just never mention it again, because one thing led to another. And once the FTC and everybody approved their drone prototypes, the drones were out of date and they needed to get the new ones. It's, we'll see where this goes, because I think Google Glass is a good analog for this, is a good parallel for, like, where this could possibly end up. It could, people sat there and were like, oh, Microsoft's entering video games, that's never going to work, and here we are. But we've also seen things like in 99 with Project X, which was going to be oh my god, it was going to be a code name for a system that was made by a company that had pretty much just released, like, perennial failures. And by the time it came out, Project X ended up just being a chip. It just ended up being like a graphics chip or something. I'm going to look this up real fast. Give you guys a fun piece of video game history. 1999 video game Project X. folks. This is great air. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you're enjoying this week's episode too. Yeah, I can't find it right now. Damn it. That's a bummer. Yeah, so that was going to be this other console that was going to enter the fray alongside the Dreamcast, the PS1, the N64, and they were teasing it was going to be this revolutionary system, and the company behind it was also kind of like loosely tied to other systems that were just failures. And by the time it was done and the smoke and mirrors had cleared and everything like that, it was just like we made a graphics chip. If that, I knew it was a chip of some kind. So it could be interesting. Like this could be the next step, the next iteration, the next phase in hardware. You know, it could be like 4 or 5 years from now, we're sitting there talking about Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and Google, or it could just be something that just crumbles apart. It's hard to tell. The future's a way off. Speaking of the future, have some new games and dates for you. The Sims 4 Cats and Dogs is coming to PS4 July 31st. Strategic-based shooter Firewall Zero Hour comes to PSVR August 28th. And town building sim Castaway Paradise comes to PS4 July 31st. So Castaway Paradise, if you've been wanting an Animal Crossing on PS4, Castaway Paradise is probably the closest you're going to get. Now, those are the games that are coming out in the future, but if you want to know what's coming out this week, there wasn't a drop. Old Ryan Clements of the PlayStation blog, who puts out the drop every week, shirking the responsibilities of the drop. That's fine. Ryan seems like a cool dude. I've listened to podcasts he's been on for years. So we'll let this one slide. But Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition does come out July 3rd. So that's your games coming out. So we can go ahead, and this is going to be a bit more of a punctuated, abbreviated episode. Let's get into trophies. But before I pull up any games for the trophy list this week, on the day in which we are recording this day, July 2nd, in the year 2018 AD, this is the 10-year anniversary of trophies. The PlayStation Trophy's 10th birthday is here. So I am going to try and find 10 games to discuss in Trophy Talk. Or we'll just talk about games we like and that we're proud of. So I know I've talked before while I'm pulling up some games here. I've talked before about some trophies that I have that I'm really proud of. One of them being the platinum for MLB The Show 17, which is a lot easier than it looks, I guess. It's easier than the trophy percentage lends itself to be. Because when I platinumed it, I was in the 0.1%, which was something I'd wanted to do for a long time. It was being the 0.1% of a platinum thing, so that was cool. And then also to platinum a sports game, extra cool. Conversely, that game burnt me out on that entire series. So I don't know when or if I'll ever play a game in the show pantheon ever again. Really, excuse me, the game that got me really into trophies, and I talked about this 2 weeks ago in my top 10, it was Ratchet and Clank. I played through it. I saw how many trophies I had left. I was like, I could probably platinum this. Oh my God. I really like this game. I kind of want to max out my money's worth out of this. And I did. And from there, I was like, man, platinuming games can be a lot of fun. And I'd started, when I first loaded up Ratchet and Clank, I had 2 platinum trophies. One was The Walking Dead Season 1. The other was Lego Marvel Superheroes. And that was a platinum that, again, by the end of it, I was just kind of like, I'm so tired of this game. Ratchet and Clank brought me back into getting trophies. It showed me what a good trophy list is and what a fun trophy list is. And by the end of that year, I was at 11 platinums, and I had gone through that. I went through Telltale's Game of Thrones, which has the best decisions, but also is probably one of the worst games Telltale's put out. But those decisions you make are very difficult, and that's a redeeming quality of that game. There was the Order 1886, and that would have been the only way I would have ever played the Order. I got it like $5 in a flash sale, but I played through it, and knowing I could kind of get it in one sitting, I was like, cool, huh? If when I beat the Order, I knew I was never going to play it again, and since I saw I wouldn't have to, I was like, I'll platinum that. There was Jazz Punk, there was the Bunker, which were some easier ones, but still really fun. There was Hitman Go and Lara Croft Go that I knocked out that year too. That's I know I missed some in that list, but and then the following year I was like, can I get 12 in 12 months? And that was last year. I got one for each month of the year. I didn't get them all in respective months. Some months I had to double up, but like it was because of Ratchet and Clank. I was like, I'm gonna platinum Horizon, and Horizon's another great game that has a really good trophy list that doesn't burn you out in the world. And then like MLB The Show, and then there were some few easier ones. Like this year, I've only picked up like Energy Cycle, which is the weakest one I have. I'm kind of embarrassed by that one. I have Energy Cycle, but I have My Name Is Mayo on PS4 and PS Vita. And I just won't take the plunge. I just won't bite the bullet and platinum those two games because I would have to. I feel like I would almost literally have to take a shower afterwards. I'd feel so dirty. But then like Burly Men at Sea was a fun one to get, despite the fact that it was easy. And then Batman Enemy Within, you just play through it. But I love Telltale, so I'm excited trophies exist. For the longest time, I didn't care about them, and part of me still doesn't. I would like to get one soon because I feel like they do give me life, and I feel like I'm aging a lot the longer I go without a platinum. And it's gonna be like that Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where everybody's staring at the mirrors, and that's how the neighbors stay so young as they absorb the life of the new tenants of the house through the mirror. Anyways, I yeah, I mean, so I'm happy trophies are there, and I know a lot of people are. Uh, so that's cool. 10 years of trophies, that's really neat. If you have a favorite trophy, what you tell me your favorite platinum. And this is a call to action for everybody that's listening to this or watching on youtube.com/pressx2alex, because you guys are great and got me that short URL. Right into psforms.pressx2alex.com. The link is in the episode description. It's also, if you're watching the video version, scrolled by a few times too. But the link is in the episode description on your podcast service as well as this YouTube video. Click that link. Let me know what your favorite platinum trophies are. What are some of your favorite trophy memories? Because I would love to share these with everyone next week. So if you have a favorite trophy or one that's really screwing you up or anything like that, like, let me hear your trophy memories. psforms.pressxalex.com. Submit some trophy memories. Let's get on with trophy time. Pulled a couple. There's not a whole lot here. Not a whole lot to go off of, but one I saw and kind of made me go, what the fuck is this? Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill, slaps and beans, has 35 trophies, 19 bronze, 10 silver, 5 gold, and a platinum. Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill, slaps and beans. One of the trophies is called Crayfish Triggy. Win the dune buggy race using only the reverse and hard mode. Triggy. Complete the dune buggy race in under 3 minutes and 17 seconds. There's a trophy called Fruit Ninja. Dodge any fruit that is thrown into the supermarket. My Name is Nobody. Win all the duels without making a mistake in hard mode. Complete the waltz without being hit. Dress up Bud and Terrence in black. Complete the game in hard mode. Hard's in all caps. There's a trophy called Metal Beans Solid. Reach the laboratory elevator without having triggered the alarm. There's one called Punching Ball. Pass the Luna Park Pungy Ball on the first shot with Terrence. Sad story. Listening to the touching story of the dwarf on stilts without interrupting him. There's a trophy called beer. Drink at least 3 mugs of beer in the beer and sausage contest. What is this game? The trophy for completing the game on any difficulty is called The End? But throws the same enemy against other enemies for at least 4 times. That one's called Strike. There's a trophy called Batman. Make 3 Batman attacks in a row. Ping Pong. Do a ping pong combo at least 4 times. There's a trophy that's just called Horse. Terrence do horse movement on the same enemy twice. That's what it's called. That's the trophy description. Terrence do horse movement on the same enemy twice. I am so intrigued by this game. I'm going to lose sleep over this. Next game I pulled is Chicken Assassin Reloaded. Has 5 bronze, 4 silver, and a gold. Clear Fight Club, clear Grand Chase, clear Street Rite, clear Octopussy Port, clear Depot. It's just clearing all the levels, clearing all the clearing. But the chicken is wearing what appears to be a sailor's hat and carrying a meat cleaver and chopping up some octopi. Okay. I'm sticking with the chicken theme here. Chicken Range is coming to PS4 and Vita. It has 13 bronze, 1 silver, and a gold. Score 1 or more eggs in level 1. Achieve an accuracy of 95% or more. I'm still thrown off by the Slap Beans game. I'm in a whole other space right now. I'm like a million miles away thinking about Slap Beans. Kill 50 ninja enemies, kill 50 rocket enemies. This game doesn't have a platinum. What am I doing? Sea of Memories has 24 bronze, 6 silver, 5 gold, and a platinum for 36 total trophies. You know what? I'm going to read every one of these to you. So this is going to be... I'm not going to read every one of them to you, but this is the trophy name and trophy description for Sea of Memories. Wake up. Wake up. The show. The show. Decisions. Decisions. Change. Change. Senses. Senses. You get the point. The trophy description is just the name of the trophy. It doesn't tell you how to do it. I never thought I would see trophy descriptions more confusing than Virginia's, but these might actually be more confusing than Virginia's. If you have not seen Virginia's trophy list, 1, you need a guide. 2, play it twice, you get the platinum. It's like 4 hours of your time, and it's a really cool story. It actually took me both times to get a good understanding of what was actually happening in the game, because there's no actual dialogue. It's just told through visuals. But this trophy list with the descriptions just being the name of the trophy is something else. That Slaps and Beans game, though, I'm gonna have to see what that is about. But that brings us to the end here for episode 15. So I don't have a drop. I don't know what to do. I don't know. But right into psforums.pressx.alex with your trophy memories and trophy problems. I would love to read them. I think that's something I still want to foster. That's one thing with this show I'm still working on. And I really want to build a good community. And I want to figure out ways to do that. That's kind of my plan for the back half of this year, is figuring out a way to kind of foster and nurture a good community around this show too. But with that being said, this has been the PlayStation Forecast episode 15. Thank you so much for joining me for another week. If you want to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe on YouTube, like so many of you already have, at youtube.com/pressx2alex, and go on your podcast service of choice. Click the subscribe button or follow button, whatever is relevant to the service that you use. Remember, the show is also now available on Spotify. If you just search PlayStation Forecast, I'll show right up. You can listen to me while playing your PlayStation 4. And if you want to share videos of you doing that with me, I am on Twitter at twitter.com/pressx2alex. If you want to get involved with the show, you can write in at psforums.pressx2alex.com. And as always, all of those links are available in the episode description on your podcast service or on this YouTube video right below. Thank you all for joining me. Take care of that backlog. Do the thing. and I'll see you next time.